In the heart of a frigid Kansas City evening, the air buzzed with anticipation as fans filled the Arrowhead Stadium, their cheers echoing through the stands. The Kansas City Chiefs, led by the dynamic duo of quarterback Patrick Mahomes and tight end Travis Kelce, were gearing up for a pivotal game against their longtime rivals, the Denver Broncos. This was more than just a game. It was a chance for the Chiefs to solidify their status as contenders in the AFC, especially after a series of ups and downs in the season. The stakes were high, and the energy was electric. As the game kicked off, it quickly became apparent that the night would not unfold as the Chiefs had envisioned. The Broncos, fighting to keep their own playoff hopes alive, came out swinging. With every snap, it felt as if the wind was taken out of the Chiefs' sails. Mahomes, usually the architect of explosive plays, found himself pressured and frustrated, while Kelce struggled to shake off defenders, unable to find the rhythm they had shared so many times before. The first half of the game was a struggle, with the scoreboard reflecting the Chiefs' mounting frustration. By halftime, the Chiefs were down significantly. The atmosphere in the locker room was tense, palpable with disappointment. Mahomes sat quietly, his normally animated demeanor replaced by a quiet intensity. Kelce, usually the life of the party, wore an expression of disbelief. The two leaders of the team exchanged glances, knowing that this was not just a game, it was a test of their resolve. As they headed back onto the field for the second half, the hope for a comeback flickered dimly. As the game progressed, it became clear that the Broncos were not backing down. They continued to pile on the points, capitalizing on every mistake the Chiefs made. The frustration mounted on the sidelines, and it didn't take long for the tension to boil over. With each missed opportunity, Mahomes' frustration grew. He threw his helmet down in disbelief after a particularly bad series, and Kelce, feeling the weight of the moment, slammed his hands against the bench. The final whistle blew, and the Chiefs found themselves on the wrong end of a crushing defeat. The Broncos celebrated their hard-fought victory, but the Chiefs were left to process the loss. As players filtered off the field, Mahomes and Kelce stood on the sideline, their expressions a mix of disbelief and fury. The cameras caught them in a moment of raw emotion, a stark contrast to the usual smiles and high fives that accompanied their victories. When they finally made it to the bench, the floodgates opened. Mahomes slammed his fist against the bench, and Kelce let out a frustrated yell that echoed through the emptying stadium. It was a moment of unfiltered emotion, a glimpse into the heart of two competitors who had poured everything into the game. They were not just upset about the loss. They were angry at themselves, at each other, and at the situation. It was a moment that captured the essence of professional sports, the agony of defeat. As the cameras zoomed in, viewers across the nation witnessed something rare. Mahomes, normally composed and cool under pressure, was visibly shaken. He threw his towel onto the ground, frustration bubbling over as he vented to Kelce. The two exchanged words, their voices rising above the din of the stadium. It was a heated discussion, one that spoke volumes about their competitive spirits and their desire to win. They weren't just teammates. They were brothers in arms, fighting through the pain of a disappointing night. In that moment, the world saw the passion that drives athletes at the highest level. Mahomes and Kelce were not just stars. They were human beings grappling with the weight of expectations. Their emotions were raw, unfiltered, and relatable. Fans could see themselves in that moment of frustration, as they too had experienced disappointment in their own lives. This was the beauty of sports, the connection between players and fans, united in a shared love for the game. As the team began to leave the field, Mahomes and Kelce took a moment to gather themselves. The fire in their eyes was still burning, and while the loss stung, it also ignited a determination to come back stronger. They knew that this would not define their season. It was merely a bump in the road, an opportunity for growth. They would review the game tape, analyze their mistakes, and find a way to improve.